All right, everyone. So this is the first time that I've ever opened up JSPsych. And JSPsych is the one that I want to use. It looks really easy for reaction time experiments. I'll talk about the other program I use, SciTurk, eventually. But right now, JSPsych, it's saying this is their tutorials. Hello World experiment. A Hello World is when you get a program to run and show the words Hello World on it. So it tells me that to download the JSPsych library, start by downloading the JSPsych library. The most recent version can be found on the Git Release Hub. Okay. So there's version 6.10. And like I said, remember, I'm still learning how to code. I'm still enjoying that. I'm going to click it, and I'm really trying to download it. I'm looking for the place where it'll let me. There it is. So I'm going to download the zip file down here. So I had to go down to the bottom. I'm clicking this. It's got a second left. That went to my downloads page. So now I am going back to... Oh, I think I just got to hit back. Okay. So I'm now hitting the back button. 4.2, whatever. Create a folder to store your files. So let me just go to one that we're all going to have. I'm just going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to click File like this, New Folder, JSPsych Experiment. All right. Now I'm in that folder, and it's saying create a folder to store your experimental files. And I did that. Once you've created the folder, open the downloaded archive from step 1 and move the extracted folder into the experimental folder. So now I got to go to my downloads. Right? And there it is. All right. So there we go. I now have this folder right here. I'm going to copy the whole thing, go to my desktop. Perfect. JSPsych. I put it in there. Has my JSPsych 6.1. That looks like I did what they asked me to do. Step 3, create a new HTML file. That's pretty good. To edit JSPsych code, you'll need a programming-friendly text editor. They suggest VS Code. I'm using Sublime Text. Once you've got a text editor that you like, create a new file in the experimental folder called experiment.html. Okay, file, new file, right? This, save as, experiment.html. And then I'm going to go, where did I save it? Well, I saved it on my desktop. I'm going to have to click this bar, JSPsych 666. I want to double check where it told me to save it. In the experiment folder called HTML. I want to be at this level, and I want to save it at this level. So now I need to go back to here and then just save it as experiment.html and click save. So I have now made an experiment.html. I have an associated HTML file with a specific program. They have what you need to know is that HTML files are opened by web browsers. Add the bare minimum HTML code. So let's look at this right here. Document type, it's an HTML document. That's your header. Beginning and end of the HTML file. Beginning and end of the header, and beginning and end of the body. So now I go back to my my Sublime Text program that I really do enjoy, or at least maybe I use it. It doesn't really matter what you use, but you should use something that uses pretty colors and makes it easy for you to see what's going on. Then I click File Save, right? Import the JSPsych library. So now we got that whole folder that has it in there, right? And so if you look at my code, doesn't have this is a different file. You can see those HTML files can get complicated. But we got HTML head title. That's all there. Then I want to add right under title. And, you know, since it's there, like, this is what you need to do. I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste. But I'm also going to check to make sure that that is the same edition that I have. So if we look here, and I know you all know I'm so messy, so just deal with it. But no, that's not the version that I have. I have 6.1.0, and I bet you when I go inside, there's JSPsych.js, JSPsych.js. So that's saying use this script, which is JavaScript, I believe. Let's actually double check that. Like, I don't want to tell you something wrong. So now I'm like, okay, script tag in HTML. And it's like the script tag is used to define a client-side script, JavaScript. So the script element either contains script statements or it points to an external script file through the src attributes. Let's click this little guy. So client-side JavaScript, the script element either contains script statements or it points to an external script file through the src attributes. So let's see what we got here. I do have an src attribute there, and so it's saying, hey, I'm pointing to an external file, and this file is my JavaScript.JSPsych. It's like the whole library. That right there is going to be all the functions and all the fun stuff that we're trying to learn right now. So now I'm going to go back to my tutorial, and I'm going to make sure I click File Save. Cancel. File save again, and that's no big deal. You may also want to import the JSPsych style sheet, which applies a basic set of visual styles to the experiment to make it visually pleasing. This requires a link tag to the head section of the document. So we got my head, and it wants a link. Let me go ahead. Why not, right? So what you have is a link to my style sheet. Rel equals style sheet type equals text.css. That is a CSS style sheet. So right now, it's okay if you don't know what everything in here means, but this is going to make it pretty. So this is a style sheet. It's going to make it pretty. I'm going to go back right here. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes, but if I do, I'll troubleshoot them with you right now. One of the things you'll notice is that I want this to be 1.0. CCS, Psych Style Sheet. So I'm going back. CCS. There you go. I'm linking. All this is doing is linking that file. I want to see what the rel tag is in HTML. So I'm going to go rel equals HTML. I'm just going to Google it. A rel attribute. A link with a rel attribute. Definition and usage. The rel attribute specifies the relationship between the current document and the link document. Only used if the href attribute is present. So I still don't know what necessarily that means. And I don't want you to not know what it means. So I'm like, what is a rel attribute? Let's see if we can get something better. Oh, so you can have, like, let's see what we got. We have one that is style sheet. Let's see if that shows up down here. Imports a style sheet. So it's saying this rel equals style sheet is saying this is a style sheet. And then, you know, HTML type equals text /CSS. The type attribute specifies the media type of the style. So right now it's saying like this is that link, that style sheet is a text CSS type. So that text CSS is not arbitrary. Right now we know what everything is. This href is a link to a file. This is telling me it's a style sheet, and this is saying it's a text CSS style sheet. So that's what we did right there. And this is how I figured this stuff out. Also, it doesn't matter if you don't have this memorized. I clearly do not have this stuff memorized. Step 6, use the Psych HTML keyboard response plugin to print a message. That's pretty cool. For the demo, we want to show some text on a screen. That is exactly what the Psych response keyboard plugin is designed to do. To use this plugin, we need to note it with the script tag. So you see right here is this plugin with a new script tag right there. Now, I'm copying and pasting as we go along. It might matter where you locate it. I don't really think it does. But ultimately, right now, I am saying, okay, 0.1, 0.0. Now, ideally, I'd run this to see if I get any errors, but I'm going to have to wait till I have something I can see on the screen. So what I just did was I added a keyboard response type to the screen. And now let's see what this is referring to, right? So I'm going, JScript 6.1 plugins. You see it, plugins. And then it's referring to the specific file that we linked, JSPsych HTML keyboard response, which is this one right here. Sometimes I hate my computer. It hides stuff to make my life easy. But ultimately, it doesn't bother me too much. But then you can see right here, okay, that's the file it's referring to. So now you're seeing that there's a file in this library that if we opened it up, if you really want to open this up, let's do it. Open with, it's going to be complicated. Look at this. It's all this fun little, this is all the stuff in that specific plugin. You'll be able to decode this once you get better. I could probably futz around with it and be sort of successful, but you can see this is the entirety of that file. So now I go back to our response. I take a breath. I'm like, how long is this going? We have 2 more things to do, it looks like. Once the plugin is loaded, we can create an experiment using the plugin. To declare a trial that uses the HTML keyboard response plugin, we create a JavaScript object with the property type equal to HTML keyboard response. Then we can specify the other parameters of the plugin in the same object. So now we were all in the header where it's what's the header? It's naming the experiment. It's adding all the files, and then we get to the body of the HTML file, which is where we're going to make things happen. And what we can see here, so it's saying we're going to add an HTML keyboard response to the words, and you can see it's right there. Variable hello trial equals, so it's okay, you have to create a new variable script in the body, a new script referring to JavaScript like we talked about before. To add JavaScript code directly to the web page, we need to add a set of script tags after the body tag. So script and script, body and body, script and script. So we got body and body. And the body is the actual visual on the page. Remember, I told you JavaScript is just actions. So now I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of that, throw it into this friendly helper right here. Make sure it's all lined up. It definitely still looks lined up to me. Now that we have, so we've basically created what they call a new trial. Variable hello trial equals type keyboard response. So it's going to respond to me typing, and the stimulus it's going to show is going to say hello world. So that's pretty cool. Now that we have the trial defined, we just need to tell JSPsych to run an experiment consisting of this trial. That requires the JSPsych init initialize function and specifying the timeline parameter. So why is this the case? Because this is how they created their program. So we're just following along. They will explain this more throughout other tutorials. But right now, it's like, okay, what do I need? I have my script, I have my variable, but right underneath that, now I have to add JSPsych init timeline. Hello trial only has one thing on it. So now I'm going to pull up my computer here. They finished this right there. This needs to go right underneath. And you could clearly just copy the whole thing, which I will do if it fails, but I have to have these different numbers in there. And this very well may fail, and that's okay. I kind of want it to fail. If it doesn't, huzzah. But if it does, right, like that's okay. Once you've saved the file, open it in a browser. Okay. So let me go, File, Save. So all this is done is linked up all these different files. So it says, hey, okay, script. We got this library. Hey, load this library. Load this plugin. Load the prettiness. That's the third thing there. Then it says, hey, create a new trial called variable hello trial, where it's a keyboard response type, which it knows to look into that file I showed you earlier. And the stimulus is going to show hello world somewhere on the screen. My guess is in the middle. There are a lot of things going on that we don't have control over right now, and that's okay because it's their program. They're making decisions for us, and they're saving us so much time. So I believe I've saved this. I'm going to just save it again because, you know, when you get my age, you forget things. I know y'all love those jokes. And now I'm going back to my experiment.html. Let's see what happens when I open it. Hello world, baby. Hello world. And it goes away when I click. It recorded my reaction time somewhere. I don't know where it put it. I don't know anything about that right now, but I do know I got it to work. Ending the trial. Look at that. It works. It works. It works.